Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon to support the channel, but you guys should subscribe and make sure to follow me on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all of that sort of stuff. So I wasn't planning on recording today. If you guys have sort of noticed, I'm pretty like casual wear with the ponytail and my glasses on and all that stuff, but apparently we got some tea, I guess. I don't know. I always say, like, in another life, I would maybe in this life, maybe someday, I don't know, like, I would probably be, like, some sort of, like, drama commentary channel, because, like, I don't know, I watch other drama YouTubers, like Angelica. If you guys have seen her videos, like, I think that they're really good, and she's, like, in law school, too, so that gives her sort of an edge, like, with some of, like, the legal stuff, you know what I mean? I love her so much. But yeah, so we're talking about Barbara, though, today, because it seems like every time RWBY posts something, like, it could be the least controversial thing ever, like, somebody just jumps on them, and, like, with what Barbara said, I don't, like, obviously I don't condone people jumping on. I guess I understand from people's delusional mindsets why they're jumping on her, but, like, Miles said, like, the least controversial thing last time. Like, last time he posted something on Twitter of something similar to this, which is, like, what I remember is basically, like, the last time this happened, I'm pretty sure that, like, somebody said that, like, this girl was too fat to cosplay as Blake or something, and so Miles was like, hey, don't do that, right? And people jumped on him anyway. Like, they're gonna jump on y'all no matter what y'all do, apparently. But we're gonna talk about Barbara. Basically, all that Barbara said was, like, friendly reminder that if there's a show or series that you don't like, find issue with, or used to like, but don't anymore for your own reasons, no one is forcing you to watch it. Let people who enjoy it continue to do so and move on. Smiley face. And then, you know, a couple people are sort of saying, like, the same thing, like, so, like, oh, well, I'm gonna try to read this in a non-angry tone, but you guys will see what I'm getting at. So those who used to like it but don't anymore because it's changed can't assess their reasons for not liking it anymore, why they used to love it before it changed, and how they wish it was still the way it was. Geez, half the internet would die. And so Barbara's saying, what would that accomplish? If others are still enjoying it, why try to ruin it for them? And so, like, I feel like basically what Barbara's getting at here is that if somebody's talking about how much they like something, right? You shouldn't just barge in a conversation where you were not invited and you are not wanted and, like, say your opinion of how you hate it. So, like, and she says this later to somebody else. No one is telling you not to discuss why you don't like a show. What she's trying to say is, like, if I'm talking about Kingdom Hearts on Twitter and somebody just comes in being like, Kingdom Hearts sucks, look what they did to Kyrie, like, I don't know, like, some complaints, I'm like, okay, thanks, but nobody fucking asked, right? Like, we're talking about how much we enjoy and like something. You could have your opinion and you could have your criticism, but have it over there, because we're trying to enjoy our thing over here, right? Like, I guess it's uninvited is basically what I'm saying, is, like, I think that when it comes to criticism, right, you can't just, like, go in, like, guns blazing, like, expecting people to listen to you if they're talking about how much they like something and you just, like, shit on their favorite thing. Does that make sense? Because, like, no, like, that's not flying here, okay? If somebody wants to talk about, like, criticisms with the show and they sort of invite that, that's a little different. But, like, you should never try to force, like, your opinion on people that are just, like, enjoying it. Again, if I was like, I love Miraculous Ladybug, guys, I'm enjoying it so much, someone was like, well, it's shit, and you should feel like shit because you enjoy it, I'd just be like, like, that's a little aggressive, that's a little hostile, and so it's sort of like, maybe you shouldn't do that, you know, just a suggestion, right? And I feel like people do that with RWBY a lot, that it's just sort of like, why, like, yes, random man, your opinion is noted. It's like, people forget that sometimes not everything is about them, and they don't need to sort of air their opinion everywhere, if that makes sense. Like, in my Discord server, right, I have a chat for RWBY criticism, and, like, I engage in there a lot. But if somebody just added me on Twitter, like, RWBY sucks, like, why aren't you guys, like, talking about how this is bad or that is bad, I'd just be like, why are you, like, how did you get here? Why are you here? Like, why are you trying to, like, put a conversation on me, which I did not want to have, right? You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's what she's basically trying to say. Like, just let people enjoy their stuff. Don't come in, like, you know, trying to, like, barge in on their, like, Twitter conversations when they're talking with, like, their friends or their followers about how much they enjoy something. Like, you're just not, like, nobody asked you. You know what I mean? And so to continue, right? Barbara also says, another reminder that voice actors aren't the characters they play in real life. Stories are fictional, and those stories are gonna be are going to continue to be told however the storytellers choose to, regardless of your opinions or feelings. It is their story. And so, like, I agree with that too. Like, obviously, you can't please everyone at the end of the day if you're a writer. Or even if you're a voice actor, you're not going to be able to please everyone. But you have to be true, I think, as a writer to yourself, whatever that is. And I don't get, and I'll never probably get this, but I would never want a writer to change their story or change their vision because of outside pressure. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if Miles and Carrie wanted to make Blake and Yang gay, which obviously I think they did because that's what happened, like, I wouldn't want them to change their vision because they're afraid of people being homophobic, you know? Like, you can always improve on your vision, right? You can keep making it better and better, which I think that's what criticism is for, but it's sort of like, you shouldn't have to change who you are and how you're going to tell your story because, like, you're worried about other people, if that makes sense. And I think, and I say this, like, I've said this before, I think anything can be well written. So if you're not of that opinion, like, I guess that's a different story. But for me, if I am someone who believes that anything can be well written, I don't think that the writer should have to change, you know, change their vision for their story or change, like, what they, like, actually, you know, feel inside themselves, you know what I mean? And so, like, that I totally agree with. And I feel like here's the problem, is that, especially with Barbara and Aaron, and I think this is in part too because they look so much like their characters, is that people sort of treat them like Blake and Yang sometimes. And I feel like with Barbara, it's like, Barbara embodies Yang so well because of the puns and because of all that. And so it's sort of like, it seems like people attack her and attack Bumblebee and, like, all that stuff and attack Yang's characterization, but it's like, that has nothing to do with her, right? Like, she didn't write that. She's just bringing Yang to life. If you don't like how, you know, Miles and Carrie wrote Yang, then that's your business. But it's like, why do you feel like Barbara has some magical, like, connection to Yang that she's just gonna, like, do a seance or something and that's gonna fix everything? Like, that's not how it works. Like, she's not just gonna pull out a Ouija board or something and connect to the RWBY spirit world. Like, I feel like people are so dependent on that for some reason that it's like, oh, well, Barbara is Yang, so if there's something wrong with Yang, she'll fix it. And I'm just like, what? Like, who? Hello? Like, what are you guys doing, right? Unless it's about how she voice acts Yang, which is also somewhat not in her control. Like, obviously, they give her vocal direction, so it's sort of like, you know, as a voice actor, there's really only so much you can do here, right? And so it's sort of weird when I see people. It's sort of like if somebody voiced a Disney princess and then, like, or even a Disney villain, and then for some reason they put all the blame on the voice act. Like, imagine if Hans from Frozen, Hans' voice actor, got, like, shit hurled at him, like, on the internet because he played Hans, like, in Frozen, and people thought that, like Hans, like, was a shitty, like, guy, and so the voice actor is also shitty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand the connection that people make, and you expect that sort of, like, with little kids, right? Like, little kids a lot of the time can't really tell the difference between the voice actor and, like, the character that they play, but I'm like, or even an actor, right, if we're going live action, but I'm like, you're an adult, right? Hopefully you're an adult, and so it's just a little bit weird, okay? And so, to continue, because I've just opened, like, Barbara's tweets. So now, okay, so I'm not gonna mention earlier incidents from this morning because I think at this point it's just attention seeking, but two things happened after Barbara posted this, I think. I think, like, Floof thought that it was about him, which, to be honest, it probably was, but at the same time, like, I think a lot of the RWBY tubers found what he posted, like, earlier, which I'm not getting into, like, very just, like, rude and, like, distasteful or whatever. But then, because of this tweet, of course the Vic people are coming in, and I'm just like, why do you guys make everything about you? Like, the people that support Vic do the best at just victimizing themselves, if that makes sense. And, like, oh, well, obviously you're talking about Vic. Like, no voice actor can replace him. Like, for, like, Crow is Vic because she said voice actors aren't the characters they play, right? And so now people are like, well, like, you know, Vic embodies Crow. Like, they're the same person. How dare you? And I'm like, Barbara, I guarantee, I would say 100% that other than, like, the stuff that Floof put, like, this is a general tweet. And I would say 100% more that this has nothing to do with Vic whatsoever. So I'm just like, are you guys okay? Like, are you guys okay? Like, people are so desperate to just victimize themselves for some reason, even though, like, it has nothing to do with it. Like, it has nothing to do with that, right? Like, I feel like the people that support Vic just want to victimize themselves for some reason, as if they're the ones that got fired and all that. You understand what I mean? And so I just find it strange that people just jumped on her. Like, she's talking about Vic and people are personally insulted. Like, how dare they insult their daddy? Like, that's basically what's going on, right? It's like, how dare she, right? And so I'm just like, y'all, I don't even know what to say. Like, she's not talking about Vic. Not everything is about Vic. And I feel like for people that are so confident that Vic is gonna win the lawsuit, it's sort of like the lawsuit against Funimation. Rooster Teeth is not being sued, to be clear. It's sort of like, if you guys are so confident that he's gonna win and he's gonna get his money or whatever he's suing for, it's sort of like, why even bother? Does that make sense? Like, why even bother trying to rush to defend him everywhere as if he needs your help if you're so confident that he's gonna win, right? Like, it just seems, I wouldn't do that if I was confident that the person I liked was gonna win something. I guess, like, I wouldn't feel the need to, like, run around and, like, defend them or whatever, like, even though Vix did say, like, hey, if you're support me and you're harassing people, stop, but apparently people haven't, but that's none of my business. I'm just saying, like, people just jump to conclusions, and people were just like, she's talking about Vic, and, like, you know, they're just, like, tweaking out or whatever, because they're crazy. And I know that's, like, I know I shouldn't say that, like, that's an attack against like, people instead of, like, their arguments or whatever, but at this point it's like their arguments have been beaten to death. Like, I just don't have the energy, so I'm just like, nah, y'all are delusional. I'll keep it at that, right? And so that's the other thing where I'm just like, are you guys okay? Like, are you guys okay? But yeah, so that was the other thing that happened here. Anyway, back to this though, is that, like, Barbara's saying, like, why waste your time? When I don't like a show, I stop watching it. If someone reaches out, initiates the conversation to me to ask why I don't like it, I'll answer and explain to that person. I don't waste my time trying to get people to stop watching something they enjoy. And so, like, they sort of can, you know, Floof does his thing or whatever. No one will complain if you don't watch a show that they do. They may suggest it since they like it and want to share their joy with others, but it's natural for people to get defensive when you attack them for things they like, as it serves no purpose. Yeah, and so, like, basically, yeah, I feel like that's basically what Barb is trying to, like, get at or whatever. It's like, you can not like a show, you can dislike a show, but it's like, if you're, why just insert yourself in a conversation where you don't belong? And I find that so annoying, especially on Twitter, because people are like, well, your Twitter is public. If you didn't want me to engage with you, why didn't you keep it on private? And I'm just like, because it's, yes, my Twitter is public, but when I post something, that doesn't mean I'm inviting, like, all, like, the crazy people to reply to my tweet, you know what I mean? Like, I keep it public because, at the end of the day, my Twitter account is a public place, like, where I sort of want to talk to people, whether they follow me in the YouTube channel or not, right? So obviously, if I post something in the RWBY hashtag, I am inviting other RWBY fans, but it's sort of like, I feel like the cause here, and I'm just gonna get away from Barbara's tweets, I guess at the end of the day, right, like, I agree with what Barbara is trying to convey here. And I can't remember if I said this earlier or not, because I've made a couple cuts out of this video, but it's like, people have forgotten how to act. Because if I was in a public place, like, if I was in a public place with Hunter, for example, and we were talking about, like, this show that we liked or whatever, if we were talking about RWBY, and somebody just, you know, pulled up a chair, sat down, and said, RWBY sucks, and here's why, we'd both be like, dude, right? Because there are certain social cues that you have in a conversation, or, like, in context to a conversation, if that makes sense. And so what confuses me, like, what has me confused, is that people know that they wouldn't do that in person because it's rude and because they understand, hopefully they understand, like, social norms and, like, hey, you're not really supposed to do that. Social etiquette, right? But then online they just drop all that, and I have no idea why that is. Like, I have no idea why people are like that. I know that adults are always like, kids are losing their ability to connect because, like, you know, this or that. They're like, oh, they're on their phones all the time, so they don't know how to talk to people in person. But I'm sort of like, I think that may be true to some extent, because it's like, no, obviously people don't understand that the social etiquette that happens in person should also apply online. And so if you wouldn't go to somebody's table, plop yourself down, and then tell them why the thing that they like sucks in person, I'm sure a lot of people also wouldn't do it because they're a fucking chicken, right? Because they know, like, they're fine with hiding behind a screen, but as soon as it gets personal, like a personal confrontation in real life, they're just not here for that, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just sort of like, you wouldn't do that in person. So you're like, why would you do that online? Like, why is online okay? And I think that is the reason. It's because online, you don't have that person to person, you know, like, sort of connection, if that makes sense. And like, they can't just like deck you if you say something shitty to them, right? Because you're not face to face. But I guarantee, like, a lot of the people that, you know, say this stuff online just wouldn't do it to random strangers or even like acquaintances, because we all have an understanding, I think, of social etiquette and what you're supposed to say in certain conversations. So yeah, I'm definitely with Barb on this one, if you guys haven't noticed, because she's not saying anything wrong. It's like, no, if I have a personal Twitter, okay, I don't want to be dragged into y'all's like stupid fucking debates about writing or about animation. Like, my Twitter is to post my own YouTube videos, to dunk on people sometimes if I have to, right? To just post, like, I don't know, things about, like, my life. It's not to, like, get into, like, a 100 tweet debate about RWBY. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's not what my Twitter is for. If that's what your Twitter is for, you go ahead, but that's none of my business. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that people just need to learn to respect boundaries, even if it's on the internet, especially if it's on the internet, I'll say, because people have sort of forgotten how to act, right, online. And so it's sort of like, no, I would never, and here's what I'm ending off with, is that I literally just don't understand people, because I have never tweeted something rude, right, to a verified Twitter account, like to a writer that I follow, or like an artist, or not an artist, a voice actor that I follow, like, not to an artist either, to clarify, but I'm saying, like, I've never tweeted, like, a creator of a show I like, or a voice actor that I like, tweeted something rude, or, like, was demanding and entitled and expected some sort of reply, or, like, blamed them for things out of their control, like, the Vic person just jumped on Barbara, and I'm like, yeah, because Barbara is obviously in charge of hiring, and she can use her magical powers as a voice actor to somehow bring him back, like, you know what I mean? And, like, obviously everything is just about Vic today, and every day is a Vic day, and I'm just like, are you guys all right? And so that's kind of what I'm saying, is like, if somebody invites you to talk about RWBY criticism, that's fine. But if somebody clearly does not want to engage with you and you're trying to engage with them anyway, it's sort of like, why are you doing that? That's rude. And it's like, y'all have lost your social etiquette, right? And so that's, oh, now I remember what I was saying. I was saying, like, I've never done that, and I can't imagine, like, that's basically, I said this on Twitter, that's the moral of the story for me, is that I've never done that, right? I can't imagine tweeting Miles and Carrie or Barbara or whoever something fucking rude like that. And so I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just baffled, and I know that not everyone has the same, like, mindset as me, clearly, but I'm just like, I don't know what to say. I'm just baffled, again, at people and their rudeness, and I'm like, some of you guys are the most whiny, attention-seeking, like, entitled people I've met, and I know this happens in other fandoms, but it feels like people in the RWBY fandom are so entitled for a reply, like, you know, like they're the only person in the world that matters. And so, like, especially, again, not to throw y'all under the bus, but with some of the people that are supporting Vic, this is my throwing under the bus, it's sort of like, oh yes, because Miles or like Bernie or whoever, they're gonna respond to you personally, honey, even though they haven't, like, you know, responded to an actual, like, fan in, like, months. They're definitely gonna reply to you. And it's so, like, and so I'm thinking, like, why do you feel like you are entitled to some sort of, like, interaction with them? Because you're not, honey. And I know this happens in other fandoms, right? I know with Miraculous Ladybug, it's sort of different, though, because Thomas Astruck, or Strook, I don't know how to say his name, like, he'll dunk on people, he'll, like, respond to criticism, and he'll interact with fans a lot, but if somebody gets too comfortable with being too entitled for an answer to something, he'll shut it down, right? And so I'm just like, this does happen in other fandoms, but at the same time, I'm like, I I just haven't seen somebody do this to a more popular celebrity. Like J.K. Rowling, people just want her to stop at this point. Like, stop tweeting, stop talking to us, just stop it, right? But I know, like, George R.R. Martin, right? He'll just, like, post, like, you know, about, like, the golf game that he had or whatever on his blog, and people are harassing him about his book. So I know it does happen in other fandoms, but I'm like, with RWBY, people just seem so whiny and annoying, and I'm just like, why? Because I've never thought to, like, oh, let me just tweet Tetsuya Nomura and talk about my Kingdom Hearts complaints. Like, no, because first of all, I don't think he has Twitter, and second of all, why would I do that? Like, what do I get out of doing that? And I feel like people, as you know, they just need attention, and that's why some of these people, like, the guy that, like, posted about Vic or whatever, he started a YouTube channel, and I know, no offense to Floof, but I know that he has one too. And so I'm like, there's just two types of YouTubers, I think. Like, there's the YouTubers that, like, want to actually create content, and then there's, like, the Logan Paul, Jake Paul, like, attention seekers that just do stuff because they crave and they need those views and attention, and I just don't know. I just can't, like, could not be me. And so that's basically sort of the tea for today. I just wanted to get all my feelings out, because honestly, like, it's been sort of like just an annoying day. And so to see Barbara sort of, you know, go into this, I think that's really good, and so I just wanted to do a video on it. But yeah, if you guys are wondering, I also, like, this is, like, so off topic, but if you guys didn't see, my grandmother passed away on Thursday, and so that's why I'm sort of just dressed down. We're not really recording, but the funeral, or the wake, is on Monday, the funeral is on Tuesday, and so after all that's done, obviously Hunter and I will try to record and stuff. So I've been trying to take a break. Basically, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I'm probably a little more irritable than say for usual, if that makes sense. So little things like this are really sort of bugging me, and I feel like that, it's not to sound pretentious or anything, but I feel like when you see someone die, it's hard to watch everyone else wasting their time. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, not that, like, my 90-year-old grandmother needed any more time, like, she was in pain, she wasn't suffering or whatever, but, like, especially with, like, again, the Vic guy that I mentioned, it's like, he's in college or something, and he's spending, like, every waking hour trying to defend Vic, even though Vic just does not need his defense. And I'm like, college is such, like, a privilege, and not everyone can go, especially in the US. So I'm just like, can't y'all just focus on school? Just focus on your education. Put your time in something worthwhile. You don't know how much time you're gonna have on this earth, right? And so I guess that's why, like, to bring this all in perspective, I see people wasting their time, and I'm just like, why would you waste and I do this too, because I just, like, you know, sometimes I need to dunk on someone, and I know it's a waste of time to do that and to give them their attention, but, like, I feel like sometimes I got to, and it makes me feel better, so why not? But I'm just saying, like, why, you know, you have a limited time on this earth, and you don't know how long you have, so why are you gonna waste your energy, right, you know, telling people that they shouldn't enjoy something, or harassing people, I guess, like, you know, if they enjoy, like, something, or try to tweet them and tell them why they shouldn't enjoy it. Like, I'm glad that those people that enjoy RWBY or whatever, that enjoy something, are finding some sort of, like, happiness in life, because y'all just seem real sad. That's all that I'm saying. And I know that's a slippery slope to be like, one day you're gonna die, but no, like, recently, yeah, like, that's sort of what I'm figuring out, is that, you know, one day you are gonna die, and, like, did you want, like, your last, you know, your last sort of time on earth to be spent on this? If y'all are gonna say no, then maybe you should just reevaluate. I'm just saying, I'm just gonna throw that out there, because, like, it could not be me. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I know that got a little morbid near the end, but I'm serious. It's like, why waste your energy? You're never gonna get that time back, and it's like, I don't know. Anyway, this ended sort of sad, but yeah, that's just sort of what I've been thinking the past couple days. I'm like, I see people and how they're using their time, and, like, it's none of my business, but I'm just sort of like, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed. This got a little sad near the end, but yeah, I mean, obviously, it's still, like, emotions are still pretty raw, and I know on Monday it's all just gonna hit. And so yeah, that is all that I have to say. If this situation develops into something else, God forbid, I'll make another video. But yeah, I just wanted to get my thoughts out about it, show you guys what's going on. I think it also sort of sends a message to the community like, hey, just if you're not invited into a conversation, just let people enjoy what they want, and y'all can like criticize in your own circles and with people that ask. But don't like try to ruin things for other people, if that makes sense. Like, don't try to engage with people that are just trying to enjoy their life and enjoy the show, right? And so that's it. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons and our YouTube membership members who have joined using the join button that is under this video or on my channel page. You guys may be wondering, what do patrons and YouTube membership members get? YouTube membership members for $5 get access to my Discord server, they get a bunch of cool emotes, and they get early access to all of my videos. $10 patrons on Patreon get early access that is more than a week in advance, so sometimes we do videos like weeks in advance or even a month in advance, and so they'll get those videos way earlier, right? And they also are able to make requests, and so if they want us to do a shipping video or a reaction to an anime or to cover some sort of theory or to discuss something, they can ask for it and we will do it. On Patreon, $5 is early access a week in advance and $1 is for the Discord server. I hope that that helps. Again, thank you to our wonderful patrons over on Patreon, and I hope that you guys will join up soon. I will see you guys later. Bye.